Greetings! You did not click on The Hidden Therapy in Ted Lasso with Lindsay Maurer, but instead you've clicked on St. Paul's podcast Beyond the Sermon. During this time, we will look beyond the words that our pastors have preached that are full of life. I'm your host, Michael Sinn, and today I have Pastor Smith with me today. Can you say... That is my... Well, do you know what language that is?
Not even a clue.
That is my best guess of a penguin sound.
Oh.
So, penguinese we'll go with.
Okay. Well, now you're just making stuff up now.
Well, I mean, that one I kind of did. Because I just thought it'd be fitting with all the snow, that we have received. But that's very common for the penguins. And that, I'm sure you've probably seen it, or maybe Melissa has, the penguin that ventured off in the group that is going to the mountain, that has made, it's actually quite the trend right now.
I have not seen it. No, I'm not. I'm not cultured enough.
Okay. Well, if it wasn't for the Tickety Talk, I don't think I would have heard about it. And there's so many people who are making memes about it and videos and requesting follow-ups about it.
Okay. This is like a group of penguins that is being studied, or there's a camera on them, and then one penguin did something. Okay, I'll have to.
Yeah, but it's just running straight to the mountain without stopping. That was I think they said 70 kilometers away or something like that.
Oh.
So yeah, it's actual real thing right there.
Okay, well I'll check it out later.
You gotta stay up on the social media trends.
I do. I know. My shame is great.
Well, okay, so considering that they have gotten so much snow and that we've also gotten a fair amount of snow, have you made a fort with the kids yet outside?
Not a fort. We, when I've been out shoveling a couple times, the kids have come out, and then Hunter's like, "Can you make me a snow pile?" And I'm like, "That's literally what I'm doing right now, man."
Yeah.
we built some, not with this snowfall, but with the last week or whatever we did. We built 3 pretty big snowmen. That was really good snowman snow. This one's not quite as good, but.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they like to play in the snow. I like to be out there for a little while, and then when I want to go in, I just say, "Hey, who wants some hot chocolate?" And then they get excited and come in, and they do not realize I've tricked them.
Oh. Well, do the kids listen to this podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I think we're safe. I think you're safe for the next couple of months, because I'm sure we're going to get more snow between now and March.
Sure seems like it, yeah.
I mean, usually we get close to Easter time, I think.
Yeah, well, it does seem like we'll get a little bit in March sometimes, yeah. I mean, I'm sure, Clevelanders who've lived here longer than me can probably be like, I remember back in, whatever year when it snowed 8 inches on March 30th. But, yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you ready to talk about your sermon for a little bit?
Do it.
All right. So, to begin the sermon section of the Hidden Therapy, Beyond the Sermon, tell the listeners a little bit about the opening illustration.
Well, when I was working with this, fake versions of Jesus and real versions of Jesus, it just started, I landed kind of on the word of, it's like a counterfeit Christ. And I started to think about how to get into the topic of counterfeit stuff, like real or fake. And I started to think, okay, well, you have to know what you're looking for with money, right? Like cashiers have to check the bills to make sure that it's real money and they're not getting, trying to be paid with fake money. But then I started to think about the world of art, and there's just famous stories, sometimes legends of people forging famous works of art or trying to, steal a famous painting from an art museum and then leave a fake. And so I started to do a little research. What is there a famous version of a painting that was forged? And I came across with very little Googling this story that I told at the beginning of the sermon. This Dutch man, Han van Meegeren, I think is how you say it. And
the villain from Frozen?
Maybe it's loosely based on him. I don't know.
Oh, so different Han?
Yeah, it's not the same guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the same guy.
Just want to make sure.
That guy was more evil, perhaps. Right. But this guy, he would take these old paintings and canvases actually from the time period of the artist whose work he was forging, right? Making fakes of this Dutch painter named Vermeer. I think Johannes Vermeer, I think is his name. And he would find an old painting that wasn't famous, scrape it off, copy the Vermeer work, and then to make it look older, he would put it in a pizza oven.
Oh, okay.
And I just love that story. So it was fooling people. He made like $30 million off people buying these famous works of art. And so he was eventually caught, but lots of people could not differentiate the fake from the real, or the real from the fake. And he duped people. And yeah, so that was, I got way too interested in all of that. And
so you went down a good rabbit hole.
I did, yeah. I think I want to do more of it. Yeah, just famous, fakes in the art world. So that was kind of the opening illustration. Then it got into, hey, but things that are more important to us, could we spot a fake? If there's a fake version of Jesus that's being thrown around, would we know enough to say, no, that's a fake? I can tell because of this and that, and I know who the real Jesus is. Yeah. So that was kind of the entry point into the sermon, I guess, and it was based on this book that I've read called "Will the Real Jesus Please Stand Up?" So.
All right, and that illustration was in the book.
It was not. No.
Okay.
That was my own, kind of connection, I guess. But just that, like the name of the book itself, just kind of lent it. It was each chapter in the book.
Okay. Gives
a fake or wrong version of Jesus and talks about kind of what that version of Jesus is and what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
And then responds from the Bible and from the real Jesus, kind of like how this version is wrong.
Yeah.
And so just even the title, though, "Will the Real Jesus Please Stand Up?" which is also, I had to restrain myself from talking about Eminem's, will the real Slim Shady, will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know about the Penguin, but I did see that music video when I was watching it, against my parents' permission on MTV when I was a kid.
Oh, you're a rebel. I don't know. Maybe that deer in the headlight is going to be, how do you rap these verses together?
Cool. Well, I'm not going to rap. Okay. Unless I have to.
I don't know. We'll see when we get to that section. All right. Well, here is question number 2 that I have for you is, so I think I do remember you saying that you have preached on this passage before during your sermon. Did you learn anything new, or did you see it from a different perspective this time preaching on this passage?
I did preach on this. It hasn't been that long ago. I preached on it a few different times. It's a very well known passage from Matthew's gospel, at least in my mind. This who do people, who do you say that I am? And then Peter says, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." Mm-hmm. In my memory, or in my mind, it's in, I think it's in Matthew. I think it's also in Mark. I don't know about Luke, but for me, it's like a top 10 moment in Matthew's gospel. Just like it's such a great scene. So I have preached on it a couple of times at least, but the last time, I remember I was reading something based on this, whether it was like a devotion or something, and it was talking about that line about, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." And this whoever was talking about this was saying how we kind of have it backwards when we talk about the gates of hell, because we almost think like the gates of hell are on the offense against us, like the gates of hell are coming at us and we're trying to defend ourselves against the gates of hell, whereas like gates don't move, right? So I think they open and shut, I guess, but they're not, like I'm not like running away from a gate.
Yes.
And so I think really what Jesus is saying, I guess this person was kind of saying, the church is, you could say, on the offense as Jesus sends us out. We are forgiving sins. We are proclaiming Christ. We are actually tearing down the gates of hell and robbing hell of people. Like we're, because if you think about theologically, like with our doctrine of original sin, everybody starts off behind the gates of hell. And the church, led by Christ, is actually bringing people into the kingdom. So that was kind of my, the last time I preached on this was I went through that, so which is a totally different focus on the text. So this time it was more, it wasn't about this kind of offense versus defense thing with the church. It was more, who is Jesus? And so it was a different thing, but I wanted to focus in more on just things that I've noticed, even about like confusion about who Jesus really is.
Yeah.
So totally different path this time with the text, and that's just what's kind of fun is, you can get different pastors preaching on different texts annually or every 3 years, and you can get the Spirit will lead you to different things to highlight. Mm-hmm. So. Okay.
Well, and you just said, like, just that second ago, like, people confused of, like, who Jesus is. Was that what you were trying to highlight, like, the problem within your sermon to the congregation, or was it something else?
That is the main thing, the main problem that I see. Even just, like, in conversation with people or reading little Jesus memes on the internet, I've just been more and more struck by the splintering of even people that call themselves Christians with how they think about who Jesus was, what has Jesus called us to do. And I recently have started to think, I don't know if we are really worshiping the same Jesus a lot of times. Okay. And that started to just make me think that, I kind of made the point that the most dangerous version of Jesus is the one that's kind of sort of close to the real one, but definitely wrong.
Yeah.
And I really believe that. I think that it's a lot easier to spot like some really weird and out there version of Jesus. Like, I know that's wrong. But the ones that actually use things that Jesus said and twist them or de-emphasize certain things that Jesus was about, like, well, that really wasn't that important. Those are the ones that make me the most nervous, because people think they have the real Jesus and they feel secure, but maybe they have a falsified, a counterfeit version of Jesus, and it's not right.
So, like, one of the internet memes I've seen of Jesus was like, oh, Jesus would flip the table if he was losing in a game of Monopoly.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Have you seen that one?
Well, that is such a classic thing. I feel like Christians will use that table flipping thing as an excuse for almost anything. Like if I want to get angry and up in arms about something, I can, because that one time Jesus flipped those tables. And it's like, I don't know if that's true, man. Yeah, Monopoly probably, yeah. Righteous anger in Monopoly is probably legitimate. But
I don't know. I think he would still win it. I don't know what those people were drawing.
Yeah. Well, Jesus would never land on my boardwalk with a hotel. He'd somehow put spin on the dice, and he wouldn't land there.
Yeah, exactly. So, he would go like right on the go.
Yeah.
All right. So that was that was the goal of like your sermon, like what you were trying to get across to the people. Is like, people have this view of Jesus, but this is not the real view of like how Jesus should be portrayed.
Yeah, I think you hear. I don't think it's good enough these days to just be like, oh, this person believes in Jesus. They're claiming to believe in Jesus. I think you would want to find out, like, well, what do you believe about Jesus? And if someone makes a claim about Jesus online or in a church or on YouTube, whatever, you'd be like, I'm not just going to buy this hook, line, and sinker. I'm going to see, well, what does this claim about Jesus cohere with what I've been taught from the scriptures? I want to hear those words coming out of Jesus' mouth, not just you telling me this is what Jesus would say. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real problem, and we'll get there, but there's a clear way to know if you've got the real Jesus or not, I think.
Okay. Well, not to sound like a butcher, but was there anything that was left on the cutting room floor that you didn't include this weekend within your sermon?
There was, if the listeners remember my sermon, there's a section of the sermon where I...
Oh, hold on. If they forgot what your sermon is, we do have another podcast that does have your sermon
So
in there.
pause this podcast and go to the on the same feed, but it's from
Yep, just a day
from the Sunday. Yeah, so it's
like 2 days before.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been the episode just before this.
Yeah. So now going back to
Okay, so I'm gonna give you some time.
Yep.
Okay, now that you're back, I had a whole section where I was listing off false versions of Jesus and it was like rapid fire though.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to cut was I wanted to rant about some of these counterfeit Christs for longer than just a few seconds. I know I've said this to you before on multiple episodes of this podcast that I think sometimes when I'm working on a sermon, I think to myself, this could be a whole series of sermons where you could do a 6-week series on will the real Jesus please stand up and talk about 6 false Christs that really have gained a lot of traction.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do a thorough takedown of those and then promote the accurate, the authentic Jesus, how Jesus actually, shows up in the scriptures in conflict with that false version.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the cutting room floor was having to trim down and just do kind of more like a rapid fire, not this, instead of lingering on particular false Christs.
Okay. All right. The next question I have for you is, and I am curious, like, why focus on the Son of the Living God passage rather than focusing on Jesus feeding the thousands of people or the beheading of John the Baptist?
Ooh, that was I kind of wanted to do the beheading of John the Baptist actually, but yeah. So this is just a little bit, and different pastors would have different approaches to this type of thing. But when we're in this series this year, and Pastor Josh and I both are having to pick something to preach on from like a week's worth of reading.
Yeah.
The way that I'm approaching it is I'm trying to find a text in the week of reading that is kind of more like representative of the whole, thematic, a little bit. I'm going to err on the side of kind of like the 30,000 foot view rather than like some little niche thing that's coming up in the week of reading. And so this week it starts to, you get deeper into Jesus' ministry. His popularity is kind of waning. Early on, everybody seems to love him. He can do no wrong. But then there's little chinks in the armor. There's people start to question him. There's a little, his enemies start to get more afraid of him. They're trying to trap him. And there's more opposition. And so I think this whole section that I preached on really speaks to that. It kind of shows. So you even just like the fact that there are different opinions around the region about him. Some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah. Peter knows,
Yeah.
But then right after that, Jesus says, well, my enemies are going to kill me. And then Peter, even though he seems to understand who Jesus is, he says, no, you're not going to do that. So he doesn't even know what Jesus is here for.
Yeah.
And then Jesus talks about this cross. And, just the fact that he's going to go to the cross shows that there's going to be enough opposition to his ministry that he's going to get killed. And that Christians are going to face that. So I felt like it was a good slice of a turn that's taking place in Jesus' ministry as the Gospels show us that starts to pave the way for, I see how we're going to get to eventually the events of like Holy Week and Maundy Thursday and Good Friday, because we're Lent is starting soon. Our Bible reading plan is going to take like 4 or 5 weeks in Holy Week because the Gospels like they slow so far down. Usually it's like the back third or fourth of each Gospel is just Holy Week. So we're going to linger on that. But I felt like that's at least how I was approaching it. It's a great passage just by itself, but it kind of fit into the greater story that we're working our way through. So That's probably more than anyone cared to hear about it, but that's the peek into how my brain landed on that passage. It wasn't just like, oh, I like this passage.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. All right, well, the final sermon question I got for you is that you know that I love Jesus so much. How did you get to Jesus this week?
That's one of the reasons why we wanted you to work here, is because you love Jesus.
Good, I'm glad.
How did I get to Jesus? And that is, so I haven't really even mentioned, well, maybe I mentioned like one time already, but the problem with all these false Jesuses is there's no cross, or the cross is de-emphasized, or it's ignored. So the real Jesus is the one that has the cross, the one who dies on the cross. And so that's how we got to Jesus eventually is, you've got to highlight the cross as being central to Jesus' mission. Jesus, he came to do, he did a lot of things, he said a lot of things, but the main reason he came, his main agenda, top of the to-do list, was die on the cross to take away the sins of the world, rise again. So if you are talking about Jesus and you're not portraying him as the crucified Savior of the world, right away, you don't have the right one. Everything else he says and does makes sense in light of the cross. Now we can talk about all the other things he says, but like if we don't have the Jesus that has dealt with our sin problem, what are we even talking about? Mm-hmm. So that was how we got to Jesus, was lifting up the cross and making sure, hey, you want to know how to know if you have a real $100 bill? You got to have that like colorful strip in the middle and other things. You want to know how you have the real Jesus? It's the one who is on the cross.
So yeah, it was not John the Baptist or Elijah or
those guys did awesome things. They didn't die for our sins though.
Yep.
And it's the cross, his identity as the Son of God who comes to die for us, that sets him apart from everyone else. And that's what eventually makes sense to everybody, right? The disciples understand that. Jesus teaches them, like, hey, this is who I am. I fulfill all these prophecies about suffering and dying and rising again. And Paul and Peter and John and all these guys, they kind of explain that in the rest of the New Testament. Yeah. So that's how we got to Jesus.
All right, all amen to that. All right, well, that is all the sermon questions I have for you. Is anything else you want to highlight before we move on?
I think that was about it. Yeah, I had fun with this one.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Well, good. It's always fun when you're preaching on something you're passionate about, and you want to get it to the people.
Yeah.
And that makes a world of difference.
We had fewer people to hear it this week, but maybe online, maybe we had more. So.
Yes. All right. Well, now it's time to move on to the deer in the headlights question. You just talked about not that long ago that you played some snow, like you played in the snow with your family, and that and you got them inside with hot cocoa and that. But if you were back outside, what are some of the games that you will that you play with them?
We will play. Well, for some reason this year. I think when the snow was so easy to pack and everything, Hunter and I were playing catch with snowballs.
Okay.
And we just were trying to see how many times can we throw this back and forth between the snowball eventually kind of disintegrates. Yeah. And so it was kind of fun. So we'll do snowball fights. We'll do snow football. Sometimes snow wrestling matches. Making snowmen.
Oh, okay.
That type of stuff, yeah. So we'll go to a playground in the snow. We'll go on a snowy hike. Now I have to be honest. I really don't like being out in the snow. I am a wimp when it comes to cold. So it is purely because I love my children.
Okay.
If it were up to me, I really wouldn't do anything outside in the snow.
Ooh, then you may not like this question that I'm about to ask you. But yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of different winter activities that you do with the family and that in the snow. As we speak about activities, we talked about last time that you were on the show how you would defeat 1,000 people in a spelling contest. So let's narrow this scope a little more, but with the snow theme behind it. So, who would you rather challenge? A snowball fight against Frosty the Snowman in the 3 different snowball modes or different styles. Whether it so the 3 styles are the stealth battle, the Wild West battle, and a fort battle, or and this is your choice of skiing or snowboard. I don't know which one that you are. Race down each of the runs at the Brandywine Resort there at Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which are 8 runs on that. And so you get to pick who you're going to challenge, but there is a punishment involved with this. If you lose, then your punishment is that you can have no heat in your office for a week.
So
I know there's a lot of information.
I'm choosing between a snowball fight or like a ski or snowboard contest.
Yes.
Okay.
And the snowball fight has 3 different.
Yeah, the 3 different modes. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe this is weird. I don't know, but I have never been skiing or snowboarding.
Oh.
And I know that most people probably have, but okay.
You grew up in the Quad Cities.
I technically,
Isn't that
my
that
friend,
far?
yeah, I never. We were not very outdoorsy, my family, and if we were, it was in the summer. But my friend had a snowboard one time. Like he had kind of like a big hill, like in his backyard.
Yeah.
So like I went down a hill on his snowboard
a
couple times, but because of my lack of experience with that, I would definitely not pick. I would have to take my chances against Frosty, which I don't feel like the odds would be very high that I would be able to beat him. But I'd have to take him on.
Yeah. I don't think I ever said who the other person was.
You didn't?
No, Jack Frost.
Oh, Jack Frost. Okay.
Yeah, that's who I meant to include on that.
Thought it was going to be. Wait, what's the who's the guy? The redhead guy? What's his name? Shaun White. He was like X Games or wasn't he like a snowboard?
Yeah,
champion?
Shaun White. Yeah.
Was like an Olympian or X Games?
Yeah, Olympian.
Yeah. Okay, but Jack Frost. Yeah, I'd have to take on Frosty because I would like kill myself skiing.
All right. And how old do you think you would face against Frosty?
You
think you would win?
Probably not. Well, I'm glad you didn't say
Buddy the Elf.
Buddy the Elf. That's who.
I was this close.
Because he would.
Yeah.
He can make 50 snowballs in the time it takes me to make one.
Yeah.
And then he'd just be flinging them at me, rapid fire.
Yeah.
I'd take on Frosty. Maybe it'd be a sunny day and he'd melt, and I would, and I'd win that way. So I'll take my chances with Frosty.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, you heard it here. All right. Well, that is going to be our show for today. Thank you for coming on the podcast, Beyond the Sermon. Next week, I will be interviewing Pastor Josh. I am your host, Michael Sinn, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Goodbye.